how we manage to get things profoundly, catastrophically wrong over and over again. In one of those ironies that the universe seems to really enjoy, the reasons we cock it up on such a vast scale are often the exact same things that set us apart from our fellow animals and allow us to achieve greatness. Humans see patterns in the world. We can communicate this to other humans, and we have the capacity to imagine futures that don't yet exist. How if we just changed this thing, then that thing would happen, and the world would be a slightly better place. The only trouble is, well, we're not terribly good at any of those things. An honest assessment of humanity's previous performance on those fronts reads like a particularly brutal annual review from a boss who hates you. We imagine patterns where they don't exist. Our communication skills are sometimes lacking. And we have an extraordinarily poor track record of failing to realise that changing this thing will also lead to the other thing, and that even worse thing, and, oh God, no, now this thing is happening, how do we stop it? No matter how high humanity rises, no matter how many challenges we conquer, catastrophe is always lurking just around the corner. To pick a historical example, one moment you are Sigurd the Mighty, a 9th century Norse Earl of Orkney, riding home in triumph from battle with the head of your slain enemy, Marlbrigta the Bucktooth, dangling from your saddle. The next moment you are, well, you're Sigurd the Mighty a couple of days later, dying from an infection caused when the protruding bucktooth of Marlbrigta the Bucktooth's disembodied head grazed your leg while you were riding home in triumph. That's right, Sigurd the Mighty holds the dubious distinction in military history of being killed by an enemy he'd already decapitated several hours earlier, which teaches us important lessons about A, hubris, and B, the importance of choosing enemies who have high-quality dental care. It's hubris and its subsequent downfalls that will be the major focus of this book. Fans of historical dentistry standards, by contrast, may be sadly disappointed. It's also worth noting that Sigurd the Mighty and Marlbrigta the Bucktooth were only fighting because Sigurd had challenged Marlbrigta to a 40 soldiers on each side battle. Marlbrigta agreed to this, whereupon Sigurd turned up with 80 soldiers. As such, there is possibly also a lesson in Sigurd's story about the importance of not being a complete dick, which, funnily enough, is also a theme that recurs throughout the book. Sigurd is just one of the many unfortunates who history remembers more for their losses than their wins. Over the next 10 chapters, we'll take a tour of the entire sweep of human history and its catalogue of cock-ups. A gentle warning, if you're not really into Schadenfreude, now might be a good time to stop listening. The story of human progress starts with our capacity for thinking and creativity. That's what sets humans apart from other animals, but it's also what leads us to make complete tits of ourselves on a regular basis. In the first chapter of this book, Why Your Brain is an Idiot, we'll look at how our ancestors thought differently, and then see how our attempts to make sense of the world end up with our minds playing tricks on us, letting us down and leading us into making all our terrible, terrible decisions. Then, in the second chapter, Nice environment you've got here, we'll follow humanity to the dawn of agriculture as we started to shape the world around us and see how we regularly make a complete mess of the places we live, tracing our unfailing ability to not really think through the answer to the question, hey, what's the worst that can happen if we divert this river? After that, we'll check in on our consistently ham-fisted attempts to control nature in Life Finds a Way, where we get to see, among other things, how Chairman Mao and a whimsical Shakespeare enthusiast managed to cause mirror-image catastrophes by radically underestimating birds. As humanity's earliest societies developed and grew more complex, it became apparent that we were going to need someone in charge of making decisions. In the fourth chapter, Follow the Leader, we'll look at a selection of the absolute worst unelected people to have ever had that job. In Chapter 5, People Power, we'll check in on democracy to see if that does any better.